What if part of the reason that we Christians feel foolish in today's culture, or even sometimes feel afraid in the culture in which we live, what if part of the reason for that was our own disobedience to the true call of God on our lives? I was reading through Jeremiah today, and it struck me, something that God said to the prophet Jeremiah. Now remember that Jeremiah was preaching to supposed Christians, if you will. He was preaching to God's chosen people who were soon going to go into captivity because of their sinfulness. And in the middle of these people's disregard for God and their worship of idols, God says to Jeremiah, I want you to go to those people and I want you to preach my truth, every word of my truth. He says to Jeremiah in chapter 1, verse 17, get up and prepare for action. Go out and tell them everything I tell you to say. Do not be afraid of them, or I will make you look foolish in front of them. God says, Jeremiah, don't be afraid of them. When you have to say the things that you've got to say, when you present my word to this godless people, do not be afraid, or I will end up being the one who makes you look foolish in front of them. Now that's the New Living Translation. The New International Version says it this way. Get yourself ready, Jeremiah. Stand up and say to them whatever I command you. Do not be terrified by them, or I will terrify you before them. In other words, God is saying, specifically when it comes to presenting the truth of his word and all of his truth, especially when it comes to presenting it to a people or a culture who are way off course, who are in sin, God says never be terrified by those people because of what you are saying of my truth. Because if you are, God promises that it won't necessarily be the culture and the people who terrify us or trouble us or make us look foolish, but it will be God that does so. He will cause us to be the ones who are afraid. He will cause us to be the ones who look foolish. Why? Because we are in willful sin. When we refuse to stand up for the truth of God because of what other people think or what other people say or what other people might do to us, we put ourselves in a dangerous position. Now, Jeremiah was a very specific prophet to the people of God, but so are each one of us called to present the gospel, to share the gospel with every creature, to make disciples of all nations. We need to love his word. We need to think about it. Perhaps a lot of the suffering that is happening in our own hearts and minds, our reticence to share the gospel, our thinking or feeling that we are foolish, or our being afraid of the culture and of the results of standing for Jesus, that very well may be coming from the Lord himself, who is disciplining us and trying to bring us to the point where we will say, I'll stand up for him. I'll preach his truth, come what may.